Hey, well, let's break down some of the players they added because shout out to this man. Reached out to him. He said, you know what, I'm down to join the show. And it's a good perspective. We had Mason Johnstone on, came on, has done a lot of work in college. And so has this man, Jeremy Johnson, does great work, covers the Georgia Bulldogs, recruiting writer at Dogs HQ and on 3 Sports. Please welcome in Mr. Jeremy Johnson to help us talk about these new Georgia Bulldogs. Jeremy, how are we doing, my man?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Jeremy, I appreciate you joining. We're excited to talk to you because let's be real here. We're Big Ten. This is Big Ten land. So we know we're not tuning in as much in the SEC. So we need a guy like yourself to kind of enlighten us on some of these players. I want to start with someone that the Lions obviously really love, and that's Tate Ratledge. He is massive. Okay, he's a massive human being. That's what I gathered. That they love the grittiness. They love the way he plays. Can you kind of talk about what kind of player he is and what he can be, kind of what he's meant to that Georgia Bulldog team while he was there?
Yeah, I think Tate fits into what Dan Campbell is about, just as a player, as a person. And he's one of those hard-nosed dudes that, he's been the center of that Georgia locker room for a while. People like him. He's tough. He's a good guy, big, loud guy. So he's got a lot of personality, but he puts in a lot of work.
We saw that 69 number. He's got a lot of personality, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. He's gonna be I don't know how long it'll take for him to get on the field there, but once he does, he'll be a guy that is a stalwart for your offensive line. For the next 6 to 7 years, where you don't even have to think about whatever guard position you put him at. You'll put him there, and he'll stay, and he'll be the guy, and you won't have any issue out of him. He'll be first person to work hard in that room. So I think that, the Lions picking him up, it was almost like a glove fit. I think he even mentioned the Lions during his pro day interviews as Dan Campbell being one of the guys that he kind of looked up to and, had the, some of that infinity for just looking towards that next level. So I think it's cool that it kind of worked out that way for him.
Yeah, Jeremy, things I've been reading about him too, he played through injury. It seems like they talk about grit. It was like Tate Rattlage is like the definition of grit. Playing through.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right. Absolutely. He's one of those North Georgia guys that comes from up there near the mountains, and they love football, man. They just that's one thing about covering this state is you can just tell the guys that just like really love football, and I think Tate Rattlage is one of those guys. So, obviously being in that room, man. I'm down here in the SEC country, and I watch a lot of the NFL football on Sundays, and I love the Falcons. I have a lot of respect for what Dan Campbell does just as a coach, because he coaches a lot like you see the coaches down here coach, because they're hard-nosed, man. Football is a gift, and he kind of has that mentality, and he's getting a guy that really fits into that. All these guys that he's getting from Georgia, that's kind of one that you're going to hear me say that every time we bring a guy up. They're going to be like, they love football because that's the play at the University of Georgia. That's kind of what it has to be.
Right. Do you think, Jeremy, with Tate Rattlage, something that's been happening at camp, they said they've been throwing him in at center, and something that the offensive line coach in Detroit likes to do is kind of get guys going at all positions to get a feel for where they're great at. But Tate specifically was a right guard at Georgia, and he played mostly right guard. Do you think it's something in the NFL to where he can move around a little bit? Because here in Detroit, and left guard is kind of that spot to where it's been up in question for a little bit. And then obviously center for the future. Do you think that's something he can transition to in his career here in Detroit and in the NFL?
I'll say maybe because he was Georgia's emergency backup center. There were times last year where, Jarrett Wilson goes down and, they having to rely on Drew Bobo. Well, after Drew Bobo, it was a true freshman, Malachi Tolliver, who is going to be a really good player for Georgia. But, I think Tate Rattlage was the one they were kind of prepping. Hey, if something happens here, we need you to be ready to do that. And he did take some snaps. I saw him in pregame taking some snaps as well. So he's done a little bit of it. So it's not a completely new thing for him. But I don't think that'll be his long-term answer. But if you need in a pinch, hey, go out there and snap and play. You could probably survive a game or two with him doing that. And he's such a good athlete. He was a 5-star recruit for a reason. This is what these guys are supposed to be when they're 5-stars. They're supposed to come in and be starters for your program, and they're supposed to go and be drafted and be able to do multiple things. So, he's a guy you want to get on the football field. Maybe you sneak him in there at center for a year or two. The center position is not an easy position to transition to. I don't, it's not to say that he can't do it. It's one of those things that I don't think you could just throw him there and say, hey, this is now your position and expect him to be able to do it day one. I think it would be a process, but he's good enough to do anything he wants to. He's played some offensive tackle as well. He was in high school, so he's got some versatility to him as well.
And Jeremy, someone that I've fallen in love with after this selection was made, because the Lions took Dan Jackson in the 7th round. I'm like, okay, special team guy, take the flyer on him. But then I'm like reading all the comments, and Georgia fans are like, no, Lions fans do not understand who they just got. And then I start watching it and watching it and watching it. And I'm like, okay, I know the Lions have Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, arguably 2 of the best safeties in the league. They really don't have anybody behind them. And if Dan Jackson has a good camp, which I don't see that a way that man goes out there and doesn't look good just by the way that he moves. What should Lions fans truly be expecting with I almost called him Jeremy Johnson, with Dan Jackson coming into Detroit this year?
Man, a man with the nickname Dirty Dan, man, that'll be what you're gonna see from him. He loves football. He plays hard. He's a quiet guy. He doesn't talk a lot, but he just flies around and makes plays. Like, that's when you say, what does a special team safety type supposed to do? Just fly around and find the football. If you're not doing the right thing, do it 120 miles per hour. That's Dan Jackson. So he definitely, is very loved. He was very loved in that locker room. I mean, you can see at Pro Day and on social media, just when he didn't get the invite to the combine, people were just like, well, this dude was one of the best players on this defense last year. Like, why is he not considered one of these top prospects? And then he goes out and runs a 4.4 or 4.3 or whatever it was on Pro Day. And it was just like, that matches what you see on tape. I mean, he was clearly one of the best players in that secondary last year, and it's not a fluke. He stuck around at Georgia. I mean, story's unique because he was a walk-on, but I mean, anytime you walk on in a program like Georgia, and not only do you stick, and you basically the first year, so you're there practicing, you don't have a scholarship, paying for school, and you don't know what you're gonna get out of it, but he sticks around. He can't get rid of this guy, and eventually he's out there playing, and now he's a starter. Oh, now he's garnering attention from NFL scouts. Like, that is a tough person,
Yeah.
So
right.
When you say, hey, what are you adding? Man, you adding somebody that's gonna be very mentally and physically tough, and he's gonna light up the room just because of how he approaches the game.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the player I'm super intrigued by, because he fits kind of the description, I guess, build type of what they already have, and it seems like he could be kind of the future there if everything goes well. But Dominic Lovett, if I'm not mistaken, led Georgia in catches. I mean, this past season, led him in catches. He's kind of the shifty slot guy, and he's got obviously the punt returner, kick returner, the special team value too. But they have someone, Cleve Raymond, who does a lot of that work. But he's getting up there in age. He's not old, but he's 30 years old. His contract's coming up. Dominic Lovett, twitchy, quick, ran a 4.4. I mean, he was at Missouri, came to Georgia. How did he fall so far? I mean, for a guy that has special team upside, can run a 4.4. I mean, catch the ball obviously out of the slot. Yeah. Kind of talk about what he meant to Georgia, and enlighten me on kind of I don't know why this man would fall away to the 7th round, late 7th.
I don't know why he fell so far. I mean, I think he checked a lot of the boxes, especially when you're trying to think about what a slot receiver is, and I know he wins a lot of those one-on-ones, with people in his face as well. He can play outside if he needs to. So, I don't know why he fell so far, but I do know that there's a little bit of a narrative around Georgia and at the receiver position just because of the drops last year. I don't know how else to say that. There was a lot of drops in that room last year, and I think people kind of have that automatically kind of comes to mind when you think about a Georgia receiver. But I mean, you watch this guy on tape, he just makes plays. I mean, he's a consistent guy. He typically is in the right spots. He typically makes a big play or two a game, especially when he gets his opportunities. It's not even just what he did at Georgia. He played at Missouri, had over 1,000 yards receiving in the SEC. So he did that as a freshman. So it's not like this is a older veteran guy that you give him an opportunity, kind of sit around and let him learn the system a little bit. Maybe in a year or two, he's a guy that's playing for you, playing regular snaps, playing in that slot. Like you said, that eventually they're going to need a replacement there, and this could be a guy that what round you go in, 5th or 6th round? So
7th round.
Yeah, like, this is a guy that could stick around and hang around and be a guy that's on your roster that ends up making plays for you just because he knows how to make plays.
Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, officialctsports.com.